Welcome to another episode of Modern Black Man Podcast. This week I'm joined with Mr. Douglas Fisher. Thank you for making the show, sir. Douglas is notorious online and throughout the interwebs via the Cursing Christian platform, as well as his Christian advocacy. He's a great father, and it's a pleasure to have you on this. So I appreciate you, man. He must have his mic muted. We also have Siren, my favorite co-host, somebody that get a lot of good and interesting conversations going, and I think today would be no exception. Thank you, Siren, for making the time.
Of course, thanks for the invite.
We should be joined by one more panelist. Hopefully, he will be joining us soon. With all of that being said, our first topic, interracial relationships. I think this is a highly controversial topic in some circles. I think this is everyday practice in some circles, and I think a lot of people just want to stay away from it at all costs at the, in parts of this world. I think that interracial relationships are something that we can have a really interesting conversation about. What do you guys think about interracial relationships?
I'm fine with them. Personally, I don't date outside my race, but you love who you love. As long as they treating you right, they ain't beating your ass. I'm happy for you. I'm not. I kind of get annoyed when the black community, like for example, Serena Williams, for years, hate to call her black man, but we're talking about her body, talking about her looks and things like that. And all of a sudden she marries the white man. And it's, oh, you traded on us. Well, none of y'all seem to really want her. So, and I mean, regardless, who cares? That's who she loves.
And Venus, they're from some part of California, some neighbor. I don't know exactly.
Yeah, they're like from somewhere in Compton, I think. Or am I wrong?
No, Doug's from where are you from, Doug? What set you back, huh? I think his camera's frozen is what's going on. And that's why he's always saying that we're laggy. I think he's paused. He's gonna have to get that fixed. With that being said,
let me Google where Venus and Serena are from.
No, they're from like Compton to Crenshaw. I think they're from Compton, right? And their daddy, Robert, raised champions. He put so much love into his daughters, and he was a simple everyday man, which I think are the men the daughters stay away from. Humble, hardworking, everyday average men. They probably remind them of their father. Venus and Serena, since we're talking about interracial relationships, they've never dated black men. Serena got with Drake and Common, but come on, those are bros that are.
But you really think it's because they were trying to stay away from men like their father? Who's to say that Alexis Ohanian is not a hardworking man?
Sure. Did you see the movie?
I did not watch the movie.
So in the biopic, they show Will Smith portrayed the father, and Daddy got his ass kicked a couple times in the movie, if I'm not mistaken. And dudes in the neighborhood was always trying to talk to the daughters, and I could maybe see how a young black female would grow into womanhood. And
do you really think that's what it is? Because why does that
I feel black men do it. I feel black men do it. So how could black women be exempt to it? The NBA draft is tonight. In the NFL draft, I think is probably even more notorious.
But if she met that guy and that's who she fell for, why does it have to life? I mean, it's always.
That's not what I'm saying.
I know. I mean, I get it's a suggestion that maybe that's why, but it's like, why are we're always shooting to well, maybe they made this choice because of daddy issues or mommy issues. Maybe they just made that choice because they like that person. He just happens to be a white guy.
I think it's a style thing, though. Real talk. As a man, I am probably in your camp where I've never dated outside my race, and I like what I like. And I mean, Latin, Mexican, you know what I'm saying? I did some brown booty too, but you feel what I'm saying? I could see. I think that we call them trophies when men do it. I think bruhs, when they go into the league, they're like, man, I don't want no chicken heads. It's like, where are you from? From Tallahassee. Like, you don't, you know what I mean? Like, you talk to these dudes, and from I guess my experience in sports and life, because I could be very wrong, because I find myself as the outlier most of the time. Since we're talking about interracial relationships, I hope that this is somebody joining us here real soon.
Maybe
But
Doug's coming back.
he he hasn't got back on yet. I'm sure he's resetting all his stuff too. But it's the trophy thing, I think. Keenan Ivory Waynes is one of my favorite people of all time. You understand what I'm saying? With that game where they say you get 3 people dead or alive, Keenan Ivory Waynes would be in that, because he, with Richard Pryor, probably molded my mind comedically and the things that I think are funny, right? So that's significant and it's important. But my hero, he was messing with the white girl from White Chicks, the real Vanderwink or whatever it is, Brittany. It's her name. She's a twin, and here's hopefully.
I don't know.
All right.
Oh, yeah, that's him. He's back. Yeah, I don't know. See, that bit could be a possibility, but honestly, I have became. You like it, I love it. So I don't know. Even for me, I haven't dated outside my race, but at the same time, as I get older, I'm not closing myself off to it. If I meet a white guy and hit it off with him, then I hit it off.
It's a sexual thing, I think. I fantasize about black women, and I think that if you fantasize about white men or white women or Asian or whatever your thing is, uh, I'm not that creative, right? My mind is pretty narrow, because I mean, obviously, anybody that's seen
I
pornography,
wouldn't say it's narrow. It's the circles
yeah,
we run in. You've been raised
yeah,
around black people. I mean, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's like black on black crime. It's black on black dating.
straight up. Well, Doug, did you get your audio 1,000? I'm waiting on Brandon too. He hasn't joined us. I think your camera did it again. So yeah, might want to get that looked at with everything else. So I really want to get Doug in on this conversation, but I know he's got to get that together. I've never found myself in a situation to bed a Becky. I think that I'd be cool if I was ever tempted, but my interactions with white women are not positive. They're not sexy. You know, like we just don't.
I mean, I haven't had two, like, I've had some, where like some men have tried to approach me and some women.
Mhm.
Um, but on a dating tip, since I'm just trying to get, like, generally get to know a person, that's why I said I'm not closed off to. They're just never up my alley that I approach, because I just,
Right.
I mean, the Hispanic Latino community there's been I've seen some attractive white men. I just have not jumped into it, but I have some friends who have dated white men, and yeah.
And I wish Brian was part of this conversation, but when we look at different complexions and people, it is it a fetish? Because you look for the qualities that you like. Like, I'm just for conversation, I'm asking because you look for the qualities that you like, and
Well, wait a minute. It wouldn't be. It's not a fetish, and I'm going to tell you why. So,
okay.
a fetish is something that you need to get off. So, say it's like you have a foot fetish during sex. You're gonna lick on the toes. You're gonna lick on the sole of the feet to get you off, because you need that fetish to get there. So that would be saying, like, if you had a fetishization for black women, that's all you want to mess with. That's all you want to date, have sex with, whatever. So that could be fetishization. I've been in a situation before in the kink community where there was a guy.
The what? The gay community?
No, in the kink community, in the BDSM community, I had a situation like that where I met a guy, and I wasn't offended. I mean, I just recently, like, researched a topic. I didn't do an episode on it about the black bulls and that in that kink and that desire. And I honestly, after talking to somebody who was involved in it, I changed my whole opinion on it.
Oh wow. See, I think those are a lot of the friendships that I have. People that have found themselves because of what I would identify as a fetish. And I think it's cool, especially as I get older, because I just don't have the same, like you just clarified. It's not the driving force that gets me off, and that's cool. I just make a differentiation. Um, the guest I had planned to get on here, he had some really interesting topics here. Let me see what I got going in the chat.
Yeah, it does have it in a message. Oh, it looks like his camera's clearing up.
Yeah, I'm not skipping at all. I don't think you're experiencing any skipping. Yeah. Um, but with all that being said, I think the interracial relationships are really, really important. I think a byproduct of those often are kids, and the world is getting browner. I know I wrote a really good speech in high school about this. Like, I even called Obama before we knew him. But that's culture. And I mean,
And that was predicted, and that was predicted to happen anyways.
yeah,
Years ago, what they said that was what was going to happen to the population, that BIPOC were going to be the majority. So that's like
and
I don't think it's nothing wrong. It's a good thing. The world needs to
I
be.
think great thing. It's our progress if we could evolve to that point. Is Doug, you back?
He said he's hearing like it's choppiness when we speak.
Hmm.
I don't know if it's on his side because I'm like I don't hear it with you, but I can't hear. When I say like I can see him, like his camera is clearing up.
Yeah,
I
I
can't
can't
hear
hear
him.
him at all. Sorry, big guy. Wish I could get you in here, but um, I'm gonna keep the convo going because I think we had some really interesting topics. I kind of need my tag team partner in here to, wreck and rumble, but paternalism is what we were going to talk about next. And I think that there are so many interesting examples in our society where we have laws, tendencies, rituals, traditions surrounded by paternalism. And I think that that's just a hallmark of our
The
society.
ones we want to keep around.
Yeah, I mean, because it's discriminatory, and I enjoy the things that discriminate toward my tribe and my group and what I want.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. So there's a lot of things. There's a lot of things that were historically correct at one point, or or correct in other countries that over here we shame or demean. That's the funny thing about tradition to me. It's like it's kind of like eye roll. Like,
I mean, that's what the control is all about. I mean, the laws of the land and what we're talking about, paternalism. I think that's the contrast. Those laws that moot or mull all the things that you just talked about. Um, that looks a little too wild. Them jungle bunnies ain't gonna do it. Type laws is what I'm talking
all
about.
the stuff that has happened throughout the test of time. I thought like everything that people like, oh my gosh, at like in today's society is like it has already been done. This is no shocker.
Yeah, yeah. But I mean, the laws that are in place that are paternalistic are that. How do we reconcile this? Because I do agree with some, but
By
I just
leaving people
don't.
the F alone and letting people live as long as they ain't doing anything that is harming other people,
Yeah,
non-consensual or harming children and animals.
that's how. Is that legal, moral, or spiritual? Where do you? Come on now, that's out the handbook. You said, look, these are the four no's.
That wasn't no. Like my mom taught me that, and I have always told like I'm not gonna bother nobody about what they do. It may not align with me, but I support you if you a grown, consenting adult and you can do them things.
Right.
Ball out. It just can't infringe on nobody else and their choices, or again, non-consenting adults, children, and animals who can't make those adult decisions.
One of my favorites, cursing. We have laws against that. The FCC, Janet Jackson's breast
Um,
outweighs all the bleeps that we don't get that are uncensored. So, what do you think of that? Do you think that? do you?
Censorship is tricky because In some ways we need it. In some ways I do feel like certain types of censorship are kind of racially charged. Like I don't know.
Biased.
Yeah, they're really biased. It's like for example, I don't like TikTok. I watch it as someone censored. I don't support TikTok like that because
Doug, you're missing the conversation of a lifetime.
Oh darn!
Because I think TikTok might have fixed everything. Doug beefing with China straight up. This boy.
TikTok is so like their censorship is super biased.
Yes, anti-Christian,
anti-Muslim. I didn't know they were anti-Christian. I have seen the craziest Christian. Oh my goodness! Don't get me started on Christian talk. It's toxic over there. Hate to say it, not everybody, because
TikTok has a lot of Christian content, but Chinese, Taiwan, well, China, they play no religion. And what I've noticed from my videos, if I say the N word, and I think if I just curse in general, they'll remove it, they'll delete it.
My whole videos on there got shot down so fast, but it was funny. Like I was like enraged about it when I was first starting off because the pole content I had was not inherently sexual, and I was seeing white women doing the same things in the same outfit.
It's wholesome.
Yeah, but theirs was wholesome because they're white. But I'm like, that's what, and it's basically because they're white. Christian talk, however, I have explored Christian talk, Chubby, and whoa.
Okay, now Christians have reconciliation because of the flesh. For me, I can just be honest and say that I've had weakness of the flesh. I think that I have lots of buddies that can testify to their success of the flesh, but there is huge discipline in fighting to be better and stronger, and God gives you that strength. It's just that, embarrassingly, we are still human.
Look, this is gonna be
inescapable.
I like that there are Christian influencers on the internet. There are some that I support and like, but there are the majority who I feel like are using they're doing stuff like that clickbaiting. You're using the lore as a tactic to make money. Let's be very real here, and I have a problem with
the marketing scheme.
Yeah, and it gets on, especially the modest Christian TikTok, the modest women.
Wait a minute. Tell me more about this?
You never see those videos? There's a ton of them.
Tell me more about this. The modest women.
So Christian talk has the modest women. So it'll be these women. It's like their whole little life story. Like, back when I was this age, I was a slut. I was wearing these skimpy Forever 21 clothes. Now I am just here, and let me do it. I am covered from head to toe and modest, and the Lord has changed me. It's like, girl, shut up. Like, it be so dramatic, and then they rag on all the other women of the world, like, you women are walking out here with your breasts and your belly out. You're gonna be in hell. It's like, oh my God.
Why does that sound like Keke Palmer? But yeah, I mean, I think that the internet, I'll call it, perverts things. It makes everything slightly perverse, even if you have innocent intentions. And that's why I find it so funny, because how can you regulate something like this? It is freedom, and I'm not a person that's I hope I'm not too. But you use it for everything. Anybody who's had a job in the last 20 years, I bet you've intersected with .com at some point, if not Mr. Google himself. The simple fact that we are in tap of this vast of information is incredible.
It's like the internet is tricky because it's of benefit, but it's also of great harm. I mean, you can make those connections, you can find information, you can connect with people who have similar interests, and that is great. But on the flip side, it is extremely harmful, as we have seen. I saw a conspiracy website talking about the definition of inter and net, and how you're trapped, like the net, how it entraps people, and it actually made a lot of damn sense. I'm like, yep, we are trapped in this.
I have a theme that I'm really trying to build momentum behind. I'll just include you, since I know there's thousands of people watching this. The internet is the new weapon. The internet is the new gun. And if you've noticed in the news cycle, we blame everything but the internet. I've never seen a news report that's like, did you know 99% of this is filth? Like, there's 1% that's straight and narrow that's National Geographic. Most of the internet is titties. Like, it's ridiculous. And because we have to, what? Paternalism. See how I brought it back around? What do? We were trying to protect our communities, our children. So we're called to do all these great paternalistic things in the name of morality, to say that we're righteous, that we're responsible, because while the pain is being endured, we don't exhibit love. You know, Doug, you got any audio?
Oh, dang. I'm like, I saw him moving in the camera for a minute. I was like,
Yeah.
I had faith he was coming back. I mean, yeah, the morality thing in general is hard. I'm not gonna lie, the internet, like I said, is just for many reasons besides titties, just toxic as hell.
It is. I made it very eloquent. I
Yeah, you did.
punctuated with that.
I feel like, again, it's like me and my mom were talking about, like, just like, again, people minding their business. I feel like, and I'm guilty of this. I have gotten to the point where, like, I think on my Instagram I've tried to tone out on, like, saying too much opinionated stuff unless it's something goofy, but, like, just posting memes, because I realize I'm like, damn, we are flooded by people's opinions every day. Like, why? And then we're up in arms, which is no problem having debates, but it's like every single stinking day we are all just at it.
It kind of sucks to be digesting news right now, in my opinion, because it used to be you were like a blood or a crip. Now everybody's got a channel. Everybody has a seat at the table, and it's amazing how many angles they play on things. Like, there's a whole network for at least 2 or 3 groups for everything that goes on in all the other news cycles on how it affects this group specifically. I'm certainly, don't be afraid, anyone. I'm not talking about BET News. I'm saying that there, these entities exist. It's a real thing.
It's a lot. It's like you're constantly just surrounded. I mean, you're constantly just surrounded by. I mean, like I said, the energy. Yay!
Proud of you.
That made me so mad. I don't know if y'all can see me the whole time. I was so frustrated.
Bruh, you look like like you was waiting the results of a pregnancy test. Like, you just. I was like, what's going on? He's looking for something. He's not writing down a recipe.
I appreciate y'all holding on without me, because I was like, man, I have no idea what they're talking about. Like, it wasn't what I could see. The camera was working fine. I couldn't understand anything. It sounded like y'all was. That's all I heard the whole time.
I'm sorry. I'm glad you back, man. We covered a lot of ground. We talked about interracial relationships. I think that we concluded that one. It was probably slightly abridged, and we can extend it. And then we flowed into paternalism, when we started talking about all of the things that we do in the name of protecting, like a good dad should. And you jump back in like a good dad should. So let me ask a good dad, what would happen if you were in a relationship that was interracial? Have you ever experienced this?
Of course. I mean, I'm 37 years old. I've been married, 15 years? But before that, yeah, I was in them streets. You know what I'm saying? So
we was talking about Venus and Serena, bro. Are they from your neighborhood, man?
They are not close. I mean, they are from Compton, but I wouldn't say they were from the same neighborhood. I actually don't know.
I just didn't know if you was from Compton. I knew you was from Compton. I didn't know if they were from Compton or Crenshaw.
So they're from Compton.
Yeah. So we was talking about interracial relationships, and we're talking about how Venus and Serena, they grew up in Compton, and they don't date black men. They probably don't see any value from black men, in my opinion. If anybody wants to fire me up on any social media,
but didn't you say that you dated Common and Drake?
Say it again.
Didn't you say that she dated Common and Drake?
Yeah, okay.
She dated black men.
Okay, you right. You right. So like if Michael B. Jordan slid in there, I'd be like, yeah, it makes sense, right? But yes, Common and Drake are in there, and I was just because I've grown up with black girls like this. Let's keep it 1,000. They don't want to date black men because they don't see value in black men. Enough about me.
May I say this? I don't know. I need to say this from an educational standpoint, not from a. I think you might have expected me to come directly from a spiritual standpoint, but I want to start off educationally first. Is science would argue the terminology we use. Like when we talk about black this, white that, it's hard for me to catch on because when I see people, I just see people. Like me personally, I don't like to be referred to as a black man because I think it puts me in a small little box.
Mm-hmm.
I like to be more of I like to be referred to as an American, just like somebody from China would more likely don't want you to refer to them as let's say Korean. You know, they don't want you to mess that up. You know what I'm saying? Like I see that there's a mixing bowl in America, but I can't find a generation that I'm aware of in my family that isn't American. So I don't see why I can't just be called American. So I mean, now taking it back a little further, let's say if I took it all the way back to the creation story, when I look at Genesis, I don't see color coordination involved in Adam or Eve. I just see man and woman that was created. So if I was to look at things from a scientific standpoint and a genealogy standpoint, I can only say that us as human beings had stemmed from two people. And if I had to put that on a color spectrum, I can only put them at brown and then work my way left to right, depending on what maybe pigment I came out as. But I can't see the word black. I don't understand the word black because when I look at my couch right now, that's the color I see, right? When I look at my TV, that's the color I see. When I look at my wall, then I see white. But I don't understand it from a literal standpoint. I don't understand how only these two specific people groups happen to be colors and everybody else gets to be the nationality that they actually are. Does that make sense?
That makes
a lot of sense.
Yeah. All that I could say on that is that this is too deep for us to even scratch for real. But like, we don't know what we are. And just like I can identify as what Jamaican, Dominican, Caribbean, all this stuff, I can get a DNA test and it says Nigerian, right? So I know that there's a linkage that's continental at worst.
Well, I would say at its core.
Say it again.
I would say at its core.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I mean, I took that DNA test. I don't remember the country it said that I stemmed
Asian
from.
is in there too, and white people is in there too because we were property for 400 years on this side of the world. And
my ancestry test was a waste of money. So
yeah, I thought so too. I'm gonna be honest with you, I thought so too.
Because it did not like zone in on any country in Africa. It literally gave me a possible, you could be from the West African coast or this African coast. I'm just like, you just you know what, you just said.
I was trying to figure out who
or something like that.
I was trying to figure out who my dad was. That's the journey I had went on because I was just really trying to figure out who my dad was. And you know, I came up short, and everybody kept telling me, you know, you got to stick in there. Like I ain't got money to be trying to find somebody that wasn't trying to be found in the first place.
Can be funny. You waiting on a random email talking about some Clarence is your daddy, like on 23andMe or something like that. Like they're gonna be like, you know what, this is your relative. This is, you know what I mean. I don't think there's anything wrong with that because I identify with. I would feel that I would want to feel that right, but at the same time, I can identify because I know the pain of just not being able, if you feel me.
Well, I really had to think about it because it was like, at the time, I think it couldn't have been that many years ago, maybe a year or so ago, when my wife convinced me to do it.
Mhm.
And as I thought about it, I was like, okay, so I narrowed it down to he definitely came from Mexico, and I'm just like, there's no way I'm going to figure out I'm going to narrow
That's
it down
you
to a
being
last name.
discouraged, bruh. That's you being discouraged. And I don't want to say anything to discourage you. I know I was joking,
I was
but
done.
that's
I
you
wasn't
being
discouraged. I was just
discouraged.
done. I finished. I was like, that's enough. That was enough.
Because it's your decision to make. Can't nobody tell you what to do but you. And that's what your spirit's telling you to quit, apparently. Or that's what you're feeling you need to do. I hope that you find reconciliation. Maybe you could remotivate yourself and go back. But that's a good tie to interracial relationships. Um, because obviously there's a byproduct of that, and there has to be something different when you can be a product of multiple cultures, instead of another product from a singular culture, or a culture that maybe your self-hatred side identifies as weak, right?
No, that was I see you being funny. I see what you did there, right?
But I wasn't trying to be funny. I really am being human, because I think that we all have that in there, because I say that representing, right, one culture. And I think that when you have that complication, that complex at the table, it's different, because you got to bang for both sides. You got to bang blue, you got to bang red.
Not necessarily,
I
because
know.
see, me personally, like, remember how I prefaced this whole conversation by talking about how I can't understand the color portion of it, right?
Hmm.
Um, I also can't understand the division of it. I know the division. I understand the division. I'm pretty well versed in my words, so I understand the division. I
Right.
just don't I don't appreciate it because of the simple fact that the reason for the division is sin. And now what it sounds like is the reason we're holding up to it is out of sin in the same in itself as well. Because
Absolutely.
essentially what we're doing is we're perpetuating, let's just say, hypothetically, so we know what I'm talking about. So we're talking about the Tower of Babel when we actually got separated into people groups based on what we sounded like, right? And from there you take specific genealogies and that's closer together, and over time those genealogies start to perpetuate itself, and you start getting more and more people that look alike. So what do I mean? So you have let's just say people that had straighter hair and had slender, skinnier eyes. They had banded together and they went off to the east. And as hundreds of years went by, they started to look more and more like each other and less like everyone else, right? And then as a result, we had to give that place a name, right? And then now you have Asia, right? And now that group, that people group, is has divided itself from the rest of the human race, right? And notice I said human race without trouble, and you kept it without trouble. Why? Because in my mind, there's only one race, and that's the human race.
Hmm.
And so you can't. Realistic, what I'm saying is you can't divide races if I only got one human race. I mean, you can have subcultures, right? But how
But
do
you
you
can't
have
divide singularity,
essentially? Yeah,
not unity,
essentially.
singularity.
Okay.
Hmm.
So that's I guess I would say that's my trouble with it. It has nothing to do with my dad or anything like of that nature, because I've never cared. Honestly, I just never cared. It's just never been a bother to me. My mom, and I wasn't actually raised by my birth mom, so I've never truly cared about uh origin. Origin has never been a problem to me. It's more along the lines of where I'm going rather than what I come from.
But you have no idea how many doors that's probably open for you, opportunities that's created by not being weighed down, right? By the doubt, the negativity, the byproduct of, you said it earlier, repeated replication of the same thing, that singular culture. Uh,
Mhm.
So you blessings, bro. You have to be able to give those back, and you do. But you gotta continue to do that because you have no idea how many destinies you create with that. That's what I have to retort to all of those things with, because you are the master of your destiny, and you are in charge of your forward. You are in charge of your tomorrow, what you build today. And I already know you're gonna do. You're going to make the decision that's going to be most impactful. You're lucky you have a partner that talks positive life into you. With all of that being said, Mr. Healthy Relationship, we were on interracial dating. And I think that that's so interesting, all the things that you kind of bring in there and contribute, because there's a lot of different angles to look at this diamond. It's brilliant, and I think that
I think attitude is the major thing that a person should look at when they're looking at a person. I mean, because you don't meet a person until they start talking, right? So how can you honestly say I don't date such and such of a group until you actually
but
have
it's a
talked? If
real
you
thing.
haven't, because if you haven't talked to each and every person in that group, you don't know for a fact that everybody in that group isn't meant for you. It might be 17 people out of the whole group,
You
but
have no
if
idea
you run
how
into that,
wise that is. That's wise. But I guess I just don't think like that. That's weird. There's a reason I don't do it, right? It's all the naysaying or that's the only reason I can presume it hasn't happened. But you're right. You don't know someone until you give them a chance to talk, and we cut people off because we know that we don't do this, we don't do that. I
You
can't
never say what you want
count.
to do.
yeah, because stereotypes is what bothers. That's what messes it up. Is because you've decided to put everybody in this one group based on what you one or two experiences. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? Like, it's just it's billions of people in the world. Like, how do you set people aside on based on color or based on culture? You know what I'm saying? I think I don't know of two cultures that can't make sense with one another. You know what I'm saying?
Because
Like
we're
I've
all
seen,
a lot of us are inherently similar.
yeah,
More similar than we
absolutely,
know. We have the same issues,
absolutely.
same problems going on. We just, again, like I said, it's black on black crime, black on black dating. That's what we're always around. We haven't stepped out those circles.
Absolutely. And especially if you look, I mean, if you look at other people groups and you start looking at, let's say good and bad inside those people groups. I mean, I'm from LA, you know what I mean? So I've seen Asian gangs that beef with other Asian gangs, right?
Yeah.
I've
Sure.
seen Mexican gangs that beef with other Mexican gangs because we got, you got the worst of every group, right?
Yeah,
So
exactly.
then you got the best of every group. You got, I mean, you got people that, have done their part to bring up a culture, and usually they get ignored. You know what I mean? Like for instance, like Thomas Sowell. Like how many people know this person's name and know who they are? Like people don't even know who Thomas Sowell is, but this is one of the greatest economic minds that have ever graced of this
You
planet,
only
and
soak
nobody
up
knows
game
them.
like that by having 100 gangs for every race.
What is wrong
I'm
with
just
you?
saying, it's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, but to I'm just saying, if my wife was, because my wife is mixed, just like I am, right? But those sort of conversations don't come up at all.
I got so many jokes.
They
So,
just
what
don't
is
come up at
Junior?
all.
Is Junior a half or a quarter?
I don't know.
Like, is he a
They're not
whole?
even thinking about that.
I don't know. I don't know. Like I've never gave that any thought. Like no idea.
Oh man, that's cool because that's a unique kid when you got Rubik's cubes for parents and you're bringing it back together. Like I think that's what humanity's meant to do, and I think you made the most eloquent introduction possible when you talked about that, the Tower of Babel. That's exactly
Yeah.
how
I mean,
we got.
especially when you look at Junior, how Junior was born, how he was raised, right? So Junior's
Mhm.
raised. I mean, he's a military family, so he
Right,
doesn't know what it's like to be in an all black school,
right.
right? Right. But well, I
You're
shouldn't say.
so proud of that.
No, let me say he didn't know what it was like to be in all black school until we got here. Until we got to here to DC, right?
Yeah.
And then for the first time, he got to actually witness that, and You know what he says when he comes home, like, and
They're
I
not
don't
really
mean
that black. What does he say?
what he it's almost like he doesn't get it. Like he's like, why do they act like that? Why are they so mad at each other? Right? Like he says stuff like that, and I'm like, I don't know, baby.
But
And
that's
I
good
don't.
though.
Yeah, but because what he's used to is, a bunch of people coming into a classroom that nobody knows each other, right? Nobody has ever experienced anything that the next person experiences. So they're all coming into a situation for the first time together, and I think that's hard to do, but I think it's also beneficial
Okay,
to
that sounds
children to
very
be able
healthy.
to. Yeah, I mean, I've never been to an all black school in my whole life.
Yeah.
When I went up in elementary, I went to school in Playa del Rey, which is it's in a white neighborhood, but I don't remember it being that many white kids in my school, but it was in a white neighborhood. When I went to middle school, I went to school in Carson, and then when I went to high school, I went to school in Rialto. So I've always experienced, a plethora of different types of people and
Right.
groups, and how to mesh my culture with their culture and try to figure it out. You know what I mean? I've never seen what it's like to just be amongst one people group unless I was at home with my family. You know what I'm saying? And I think that's a benefit to to my mom anyway. I mean, because she was
Benefits
sending
to
me
you
to.
and your mother.
Well, I mean, it's a benefit to her because she didn't have to experience those things like me perpetuating stereotypes. You know what I'm saying? Like I was creating stereotypes, right?
Yeah.
Like this kid finishes school. Like I mean, I've been in school all my life. Like I don't know what it's like to not be in school. Like I just finished my master's. You know that,
Your
but
second, or yeah.
yeah, like I just finished. I mean, like so. I mean, I'm over here looking for another school to start off at just so I can just maintain the status quo. But essentially, as black people or as brown people or Asian people, when you step outside, when you step out there, if you're looking for the differences, you're going to find the differences,
Hmm.
right? But if you look for those things that make us alike, you might find even more. Like a person might go outside right now and go to the gas station and say, "Dog, and it's expensive than a mug out here." And I guarantee you, no matter what their race is, they will agree with you.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
They might not agree with you if they're in a different class, right? So if they're, I would say there's a lot more classism in America than there is racism. I've never
You
experienced
better
racism in all
stop
my life.
playing with me. I'm
What?
proud of you.
I
I'm
think that's
proud
the
of you.
I think that's the one thing that needs to happen though is that because we have the racism factor, a lot of people don't realize that that's really the real division is classism. That's where the
Exactly.
real thing is. So people, I don't know. America is weird because no, let me be quiet because I'm gonna go on my capitalism rant.
Nope. I want
No,
to
it's
hear it.
okay. I want
I
to
want
hear
to
it
hear it.
anyway.
So I've been like on this deep, and I'm not identifying as a socialist, but I do feel like we can critique capitalism. So one thing that I've like grown to learn about capitalism is what it does is it divides people because it makes you like because we're on that hamster wheel trying to get to the top. We want the money, we want the riches and things like that. The only things that we care about are our family, our little unit. We don't care about our community as a whole.
Right.
So we become blind to the fact that wait a minute, we're in a rat race somewhere we're not gonna be the next Elon. I'm not saying that we can, but we're not gonna be the Elon Musk. We're not gonna be Jeff Bezos. We're not looking at darn if we all banded together and dropped these other differences and cared about us as a community as a whole, maybe we would get a lot further.
But so
We
I guess the
won't get
basic
there.
question I would ask is when you say band together, right? What do we band together and do?
We need to society needs to change. I don't want to say I want capitalism gone. I'm sorry. I
You know
don't
what I
think
mean? So essentially
She
what I'm
wants
saying
revolution.
so essentially
I
what
want
I'm saying
revolution.
is
And I
because
think it's gonna happen.
I don't think we live in a capitalist society. I think we live in a free market system. So I mean,
Really?
a free market system is essentially, what I
No,
mean, like
there's too many barriers to entry for it to be even defined as.
but
Yeah.
if you're going to say that, then you have to blame the fact that there's too much government involved.
I don't always want to blame the government, but okay, I'm gonna concede.
But the government's hands are sticky because the government does a lot of things based off business.
I have
And
to concede every argument though if I give the government because he's right. But I have to concede every argument because the government's supposed to lead innovation, and they do. But then the Chinese steal it and make it better, and then we steal it back.
The question is, who
Make
gave it
look
to the
better.
Chinese?
Yeah, exactly. You get
So
it.
I mean, here's what you're not going to do. You're not
I
going to
said we
find.
steal it back.
No, I'm just saying. So you're not going to find a time when Elon Musk sat down with a Chinese man and said, "Look here, take all my patents." What Elon Musk actually does is he gives his patents to other businesses in America. So.
Yeah.
So I mean, and I like to talk about Elon Musk because he's the richest man in the world. So if he's the
I've
richest
been
man in the
thinking
world,
about him all day.
that's a good place
Please.
to start with. So
Yeah.
essentially, if Elon Musk is if he gave away his patents for the electric car, and he gave away his patents for the little houses that he's trying to promote, so that we can
Underground
have
tunnels,
$1,500 homes instead of
SpaceX.
$15 million homes. So I
Mm-hmm.
mean, I don't see a problem with a person having. I mean, because eventually somebody's going to make money if everybody's buying a product, right? So I mean, we're talking about our phones, right? Like, everybody, I think, would assume right now is using their phone. Everybody's probably on an iPhone. I know you're on an iPhone 13. See, so I'm just saying. I mean, if you look at what you have, right, and what you're using, then you're actually perpetuating them getting rich. Otherwise, then you have to create your own means of connecting with
But
others.
do you really have a? I mean, do you really have a choice? That's why I say I don't believe. Like, yeah, do we have a free market? Is it kind of free market? But it's mostly capitalist. Look at the wealth is hoarded. I mean, and that's something we can. The wealth is hoarded amongst the small majority.
It's
Well, I mean,
cartel.
I'm pretty
It's a
sure
cartel
LeBron.
before it's an
I would say
before
LeBron
it's
said that every day before he made his first million too, right?
Say that
Could
again.
you? I'm pretty
I
sure
can
LeBron
read it
said
up.
that
That's, I
every
mean,
day.
it's solid research where they have published it. Where yes, the wealth in America is hoarded amongst a small amount of people.
Well, when you say hoarded, that means that implies that they're doing it on purpose.
I have a good statistics for you. 1% of the population has 99% of the wealth, and the greatest take back that has ever happened to them is in the last. Truly, the Biden and Obama combined, it was 1%.
Yeah, and they also pay 75% of the taxes in
1%,
America too.
and they have 99% of the wealth, and they changed it up on them literally 1% of their wealth, and they've become enemy number one, and they've acted like their future wealth has been devastated.
Did you just say
Meanwhile,
that Biden just became a millionaire?
I didn't say that.
Oh, I was about to say, because Biden's been a millionaire longer than you've been alive, but
I had a really good statistic. I was about to say. I was going to pop it off. Something going on with
his son.
No, because the wealth, the 99% having 1%. There's more millionaires and billionaires created now than ever. Is the statistic I was going to point out. That it's happening now more than ever. But the poor people are getting poor. The middle class is shrinking. And do you know who the fastest demographic of millionaires is?
Jews.
No, blacks, African Americans.
Oh, nice.
No, that's not true.
It's not true.
As far as the world is concerned, the fastest
world.
growing
I'm sure it is
population
Jews. I'm
is
saying in
definitely
America, it's African Americans. In the United States, African Americans.
Yeah, and you would be right in that sense. Right?
Yeah, and there's more billionaires and millionaires now than ever. I don't know the exact statistic, but billionaires are being created often now because everything that we talked about, and that was moving 1% of their wealth. Do you understand that? Moving 1% of these rich bastard fucks' wealth has created all of these opportunities. Fuck them. Let's kill them.
That's ridiculous. And see, here's my only issue with that is because what it sounds
I don't really mean that. I'm sorry. I'm joking.
Well, I'm just saying it sounds like we're blaming the ones that came up with the innovation I mean, you're calling their innovation your downfall, and that doesn't make any sense to me.
And I don't mean that, but I do mean that it's excessive and it's boastful, and I don't know how we don't demand more.
Because you ain't create nothing. You ain't make nothing. Why you get to pay for it?
Excessive wealth doesn't make sense. Like there's nothing wrong with people being successful and creating innovations, yes. But what the hell are you going to do with $1 billion in your lifetime?
But let
me answer her question. There's been more than 10 times in human history that America, England, France, Brazil. I'm not going to go on, but let's just say a plethora of different countries have gone to the rich to bail them out of things that they have gotten themselves into.
Yeah. Yeah.
So regardless of who has the wealth, the fact of the matter is that if we can continue on with the status quo, and that means that everybody doesn't get poorer as they spend money, right? So that's inflation. So that's what socialism actually leads you to. It's inflation. So that's the biggest problem with things like cutting, with trying to pretend as if what's the word that they use? Global warming is perpetuated by somebody making money.
You don't believe in global warming?
Well, let me ask you this. 10 years ago, AOC said that the world was going to end in 12 years. Are you prepared for that?
I'm not. I'm prepared for that.
Okay, let's go back. They said in 2000, the year 2000, the world was coming to an end. You remember that night? I bet y'all
But that was Y2K. That wasn't the same as climate change.
That had everything to do with climate change. Go back. It had everything to do with
it was about computer chips. They thought that
it had everything to do with
nuclear weapons would go off. They thought our infrastructure would fail.
Yeah, it wasn't
they were scared
anything to do with climate
NASDAQ was
Go back
they
and
were
look
worried
at
the
everything.
news would be on
I guarantee.
TV. Our infrastructure's going down. Why too?
Yeah, there was a calendar glitch with the computer. It wasn't about climate change.
Just don't watch no clips from CNN. I guarantee if you go back and watch as many clips as you can, you will definitely find.
Oh wait, do you not?
I'm glad you said that, but I don't agree with you. I believe that is not a fact. But
I'm trying to figure out this camera.
You said that.
Why can't I get back?
You felt brave to say that, and I am not going to ridicule you. I do not believe that is a fact.
I'm not worried about it because what you're not going to convince me is that the world is going to end based on what man does. Because if you know anything about me, you know that I'm a fundamentalist.
So littering is not bad. Overfishing.
I didn't say it wasn't bad. I didn't say littering wasn't bad. I mean,
overnight or in our lifetime. I agree with that.
There is no. What I'm simply saying is I'm a fundamentalist. So everything in the Bible I take literally. Correct? You know that much about me.
Yeah.
So if you know that much about me, what you're not going to convince me.
I don't know it. I hate it.
Yeah. Well, so what you're not going to convince me of is that by me using fossil fuels, the world is going to come to an end. Like you're not going to convince me of that.
It's true though, but I get it. It's true. It's just that the timeline's effed up. They said in
2016 that all the glaciers were going to melt by 2016.
Dude, you have no idea.
And there are plenty of glaciers out there in Alaska.
It is
I've lived there
right now.
But it's bad. I mean, like, have you not seen
our planet is really
polar
bad.
bears are barely surviving. I mean, like, there are dwindling populations of animals.
Prove that.
You're so right. That. Because we can't, right? But PETA and all these organizations who are dickheads.
It's not even just
they are making money that help my team.
Are making money. See, the funny part about it is the average rich person that's an environmentalist are also eugenists. Okay, so if they're also
where did that come from? Wait a minute, where did that come from?
What do you mean? Where did that come from? You never heard of the World Economic Organization?
I'm from the city. I'm the black baby they were trying to kill.
Yeah, you absolutely were. You absolutely
Martha
were.
Sanger. Yeah, Martha Sanger.
Martha Sanger. Justin Bieber. Not Justin Bieber. What's cuz name that was on Titanic?
Leonardo DiCaprio.
The list goes
when they
on.
try to teach the kids Ebonics, that's when I realized I made the best decision in getting out and going to a real school. Because eugenics is very real, and people don't understand that. The government, and I'm not being a conspiracy theorist. I mean, every good government.
All you gotta do is go to their website, bro.
Yeah.
Just go to their website. They're not going to argue about anything.
I get real passionate on that one. I ain't even gonna fall for it today. Conclude your point. I'm sorry about that. That was an emotional button that got pushed for me. Because
I bet
fetus nigga survived.
Think about it though, man. Just be fair in your argument, because essentially what you're saying is that those people that make those arguments don't also say that our overpopulation is also going to consume the resources on planet Earth, right?
Charles Malthus wrote eloquently.
I mean, so Karl Marx, your favorite guy, said the same thing, right? I mean, he said that back. I mean, way back when. It's true. Out of that, you got socialism and communism, right? And if you look at the countries that took his development and put it into play, i.e. China,
Cuba,
i.e., Cuba,
still
i.e.,
majority black.
Venezuela. All of those
Um,
countries, if you
kind
look
of
at the
black.
amount of people that died or that was killed during those regimes, we're talking billions of people have died because of eugenics, because they believe that there's too many people on Earth.
How many little niggas you know from Miami? Wait a minute. How?
Again, man, it's not that hard. Like I said, all you gotta do is go to their website, bro.
No,
It's not that
it's very,
hard.
very powerful. It's very, very powerful. It's very, very real.
You ever heard of the Great Reset?
Refresh me. I
So
can't.
so essentially, what they believe that is when after COVID happened, what they got to do is see exactly what benefits come out of what benefits came out of COVID. What did we learn? What we learned was one thing is for sure is that it is very beneficial when we can get them all in their houses. So if we can get them all in their houses, that means that we can control where they are. Second thing is we have to just convince them that all they have to do is take this shot and they'll be fine.
Aren't you at the
Right?
same military base that knew about this in October of 2019?
Bro, I was there. I was sitting at
It was
March Air
me,
Reserve Base. I was
Earl,
sitting at March Air
Lil
Reserve
Willie.
Base. Wait, no, check out. Not to be funny. I was sitting at March Air Reserve Base when they said that there was somebody on the plane that has some type of disease and they just came from China. Now I didn't pay no much attention to it because you know what I'm saying, like, you know, you don't know what to think.
Right.
But 2 days later I'm watching the news and I hear the president talking about it. And by this time we're on a plane back home and I'm like, yo, that's crazy. We were just there. Right. And sure enough, those people got off that plane and a week later it was all over California, and a week later the whole country had.
It was New York, but it makes me believe in Men in Black because they don't have the mind eraser.
What did you say about New York?
The outbreak in 2020 was around February, March. U.S. cases was in New York because I remember watching it on TV because we used to say black people couldn't get it. And then when BBC Africa was showing niggas riding elephants, coughing and shit, I was like, oh shit. I was like, oh.
So you talking about the outbreak? So you're not talking about the first case, because I can guarantee you the first case wasn't in New York. Like I said, he came. They came back on a military flight.
You might be right because
it was only 4 people on that entire plane.
Yeah, you might be right because I do remember that very, very first case. But New York was the epicenter. New York was I don't know. I'm not even trying to fact check you, dude.
I don't know where they sent them after that, but I know they landed at March Air Reserve Base. That much.
But I remember being in DC, and I remember when everybody knew, and it was crazy because we called it bronchitis at Christmas time, and then March, remember? And then March, like the whole world had it, and it was crazy.
It was gone. It was over by then. But I mean, to the point, like I said, eugenics had realized that those methods actually work, right? Yeah. Now I could stop there, but you know me, I like to dig a little deeper. So
please do. Go ahead.
I mean, my whole thing is if let's just say for argument's sake, for those believers that aren't those non-believers in the room, right? If there was ever a way for it to come up with a one government system for the entire world, it would have to start with some means of not just controlling money, but also controlling the population, right? And having a means of exterminating the part of the population that's dissenting, right? So if you've been paying attention for the last year or so and what's going on in our country alone, you'll notice what happens with those that have dissenting opinions, right? They either get canceled, or I mean that probably sounds like that doesn't matter too much, right? So they either get canceled, or in the case of the 3 white dudes that was taking selfies in the congressional building, you end up in solitary confinement for the past 2 years. So I'm just saying, it's not that hard to just look at this from a big standpoint and find out that if the Antichrist is a real thing, which I believe he is, he has his blueprint now of how to take over the world.
Okay, amen. I can't really disagree with that. Yeah, those are all facts. My position is simple. We have to change how we treat each other. That's all. That's it. Tomorrow, the people that you don't like interacting with, I want you to have a positive interaction with them. And tonight, I want you to have pleasant thoughts and all those things that are tormenting your mind. And that's about it. Life is not as complicated as we make it for ourselves. The problem is that we don't have decency. There's no one to check us. We're free.
No one to check us.
You know what I mean.
You mean there shouldn't be no one to check us?
On this realm, there really isn't. You can go to jail. You can go to jail. You can be dealt with, but God is superior to anything that I know. So I'm speaking specifically on this plane. With that being said, yeah, that's what I want. I mean, this conversation was dope. This was amazing. I'm glad that we got to get through those topics. I think y'all gave me a lot to digest. That's all I got right now. I just wanted to say that. I wasn't trying to cut you off. I know you have a thought, and I'd love for you to share it with us. Give us some wisdom.
Well, I mean, to be frank, and I'll try to be as frank as possible, there is nothing wrong with people disagreeing.
Right.
There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. Because of the simple fact that, if you don't have a disagreement, how do you know that you're right?
We need to disagree. I don't understand how people don't get it. Like how you have a conversation and it's not about conflict. It's about really learning something. Like, I hope I don't think like the next month. Like, how the hell I'm gonna think like somebody else? What kind of and people
That's
they
so
struggle
weird,
so much to find individuality that they clone it. It's weird that they replicate weird. That there's like a template, a format for it. You can't individually be yourself and differentiate. With all that being said, that's it. I'm tired of it, man. I embrace
I push another button, bro.
dissent. Embrace dissent.
I think it's fine to disagree. I feel like what we do in the world now is we take it too far. It's like, oh, if we disagree, it's a problem. Like, no, you have to, like, at the end of the day, like, if that's how you feel, that's how you feel. As long as we have common respect for each other. I mean, I may not agree with everything you do, but I respect you as a person.
Right.
Exactly.
It's love. People don't love other
your
people.
Prerogative.
They don't feel that they can give people positive emotions if they don't agree with them. That's it.
I mean,
it's so crazy. It's okay with affirming people, but if you don't agree, I mean, give that man his space, or give that woman her space to disagree and move on with her life, because she's not going to grow just because you're tearing her down now because she disagrees with you.
Exactly.
So I mean, that's what I would leave people with. And if you don't know Christ, email me so we can talk about it.
But you know what though? People have misconceptions. As people, we have misconceptions about other people. Certainly have misconceptions about relationships. Religion. I would like for you to share your social media information, where they can find you, and if you have any kind of outreach and advocacy or promotion, I'd like for you to get that done. If there's nothing,
if there's such a thing, I'll be honest with you. As far as promoting or anything like that, I can honestly say I don't have nothing to say, because I'm finally putting my venture here in DC and Maryland and Virginia to bed. Me and my family are going to be PCS into Alaska within the coming weeks, and I'm just glad to be going back to my second home. For those of you that may see this show out there in Alaska, if that's at all happening right now,
tell them about it, man. Tell them about the compound.
Yeah, man. I'm on my way. I don't know. I really don't know what to say in that regard, because I don't plan on doing massage anymore. In reference to it being a small business, my goal when I get out there is to find a brick and mortar and to train up a few therapists and do something bigger so I can sit down somewhere and make residual income. Black folk, if y'all need to know how to become rich, the word you're looking for is residual. You want to learn how to make money without yourself moving. You got to learn how to be still and let your money work for you. Learn how to do investing. Learn how to
Passive income.
befriend other people so that they can help you make other money, right? I met a man the other day that he had a small little car wash across the street from my son's school. I took his number, so just in case I look for something to invest in, maybe I can help him grow his business and make my own money on the side. You see how that works? But beyond that, I leave you with the love of the Lord. Um, I am by any means am not perfect. I am struggling, but I am in love with my wife and my children, and we are doing our best to just be active members of society.
Amen. That's good. That's more than
Frank.
good. No, that's absolutely. Thank you for your service. I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, you're good. You're good. I'm about done, Siren. I appreciate you. I really wish I got to be a part of the whole conversation, but
it was weird. It was weird. We're gonna have to get that fixed out next time. But I appreciate you sticking to it, and you got it fixed. You a G for that. Appreciate it.
No problem.
And then
Siren, speak.
Yeah.
We're closing out, right?
Yeah.
Yes. Right.
Well, thank y'all. I have to say, I had a good time. A lot of good information.
It was a pleasure having you.
I don't mind. I would say I don't mind. I know my schedule been kind of choppy, but yeah, anytime.
Did I tell you look just like my cousin?
Really? Oh my God.
I mean,
your
like
cousin fine.
I'm not gonna say my cousin fine, but
I
I'm
was
not gonna say that. Yeah, that's weird.
oh.
I was say I got a lot of good looking people in my family.
I was like, I want to see your cousin. Like, I got a doppelganger.
Like she just. I was like, man, that ain't Tamika. That ain't Tamika. I tripped out. Yeah, but she looked just like my cousin, yo. But at any rate, yeah, I really appreciate the way you guys think, and I like how you guys aren't just one-sided in your thought process, and you're able to consume new information and make it work with what you got. You know what I'm saying? In the meantime, if you guys ever want to, I would love if we can find some time to do some reaction videos. You know what I mean? You know what I'm talking about, Simon? Like we'll do some reaction videos to like some YouTubes or some videos or whatever. I would love to do that.
I was just telling Chubby about the modesty TikTokers on Christian Talk. We should do that.
I've never heard of these people. I don't do TikTok.
You missed it because she was talking about Christians on TikTok. And I said, I was like, this is Doug's lucky day.
I mean, that's because you know that I know that they're marginalized on TikTok. So I mean, and like they're a lot of their stuff is cut off.
That's the homie Siren. She said that she done seen some things.
No, I've seen some things on there, which don't get me wrong, because I do appreciate that we do have Christian influencers on the internet. However, it can, just like anything on the internet, it can go toxic. So they have had their fair share of drama. I watch a lot of YouTube, so there are.
But I believe that. I mean, everybody's sinful. I mean, regardless of what you believe, everybody's sinful.
But the modesty girls they crack me up. I'm sorry, it's just too much.
Is that the same the women that be talking crazy about like how they wear a head covering and nobody else, and regular women don't, and how they be they
I'm like I tell people all the time, if it makes you comfortable to dress a certain way, do it. I'm all for it. But they go over it. It's like the deep end for me. It's like, this was me 2 years ago, and this forever 21 came to dress. I just didn't love myself. Now I wear this head covering, and I am just blessed and bountiful. It's like, I'm proud, but it's like over the top, and then they all shameful, like, you women out here who dress like that. There's this one girl, and she like all she does is like talk about
hands on the mic,
just like complaining and eating her ice cream. It's like, girl, we got it. It's like it reminds me of when I used to be vegan. I was like,
move your finger, girl.
And I would like try to like interact in vegan groups, and everybody just was tearing down people who eat. I'm like, okay, if you're trying to convince somebody to come to your side, you're not gonna bring.
You're not helping. Yeah, you're not helping.
You're not gonna bring down. So like some of the models you're gonna be looking at them like, I appreciate their story and their journey, but it's like, dress a certain way.
Yeah, I think most Christian women don't necessarily understand modesty at its core and like the purpose of modesty. Essentially, the whole goal of modesty is not to create sin for another person, to keep somebody else from sinning. So I do what I can to at least protect myself in the process of making sure somebody else doesn't sin. But for you to tear down other people because of what they wearing is rather ridiculous, because you're not changing anybody's.
But that's why Muslim women wear hijabs and burqas is modern.
Yes, or because men don't like sharing in that culture. I don't know.
And I think it's that, but they blame the men's eyes is appropriate, because I blame men.
That's how my grandmother used to explain it, that you have to wear a dress a certain way because otherwise you'll make the men sin. I'm like, Granny, they ain't got personal responsibility.
Well, there was my mom's. My mom had a boyfriend that was a pastor one time, and he told me when we was in a supermarket. Me and the drummer, you know what I'm saying, are sitting in there looking at booty, right? He's like, man, you guys gotta learn how to submit your eyes to the Lord, and we didn't understand that at the time. But essentially, I mean, it all boils down to you having what's the word I'm looking for?
Discipline.
Control. Self-control. Like, you got to be able to control yourself. I mean, you can't rely on everybody else to change the way they look and feel so that you can control yourself. Control yourself. You know what I'm saying? Just like, I mean, it doesn't make any sense to force somebody to wear a guard that covers their entire body. They can't accentuate what God blessed them with just because you can't keep yourself still. Be still, bro. I mean, I've been married 15 years. I see everything there is, but that don't mean I can't keep my eyes to myself and keep my hands to myself, right?
But it's the thoughts that you have to block, though, because for me, my eyes are my gate. I love using my eyes, but you have to discern, and you have to keep your spirit very sharp so you don't act on them impulses.
That's what the Bible says too.
Yeah, I digest flesh.
Yeah, I mean, as you're going to. I mean, there's certain things about the human traits that aren't going to change just because. Just because anything.
And all these BBL booties walking around. Sometimes you can't help it because you don't know if it's real or fake. Sometimes it don't even be. Yeah, you be like, what is that on her back? Like, it don't even be a sexual thing.
It's new stimulus. It's all it is.
Yeah, I don't know. I just believe that people need to learn how to check themselves rather than trying to get everybody around them to do what they need to do. I mean, I think that's weird, though.
There was a Christian pastor who had posted something on Instagram talking about how he went to the beach, and he's like, this woman was in her bikini, and it was like this, like I think his wife was supporting him too, like, yeah, the bikini was wavering his eyes, and he wanted to look. I'm just like, he don't have no self-control.
Like, right, and like, why would you tell everybody about that, bro? Like,
I'm like, why?
It's true though. It's true though. Some men do not have self-control, and that's wrong. He didn't have to post that
to the Instagram. He could have kept that thought to himself.
Yeah, he absolutely should have.
But it's for a reason though. He wanted to declare her the baddest thing around.
Yeah, and he made his wife look like a fool in the process.
But then he was making it clear that it was like it's all her fault for wearing that bikini. Like, yeah, you played a part in this though. You was looking.
His wife perpetuated, and now both of them look like idiots.
So a paternalistic position would be what? Would the paternalistic position be keeping the pastor's goddamn mouth shut, or covering the woman up?
The paternal instinct should be them two having that conversation amongst themselves, because him having
removing yourself. Remove yourself from situations where you need paternal.
Well, sometimes you can't.
That sounds like the Falwell rules, though. Jerry Falwell.
No. Because sometimes you can't. What I'm talking about is not relaying that on the internet to the world and telling everybody in the world what you saw. But you and your wife need to actually have a sit down and conversate about how that made you feel as a person. Because essentially,
how do you tell your baby that? Hey, but baby, look, you ain't never gonna believe the ass I saw today, babe. It was fat like this and fat like that.
I would think at a certain point in a relationship or something that you understand that though you may sometimes look, like you said, you're not acting on these impulses, because people, there's going to be attractive humans out there who are not your mate. It doesn't mean that I don't love my mate that at all. It doesn't mean that at all. There are air-catching people. It's like, if you ask men with Halle Berry, a bunch of married men love Halle Berry to this day. They wives know that.
I
love Halle Berry.
So again, I think I would hope a mature woman could have that conversation, like, hey, I'm not trying to act on these impulses, but sometimes I would.
And it's not necessarily always an impulse. Sometimes it's just human action. It's just something
acknowledgement.
That we just do that because we do acknowledge the fact that everybody outside the house is beautiful in their own way too.
It's confirmation of sin.
It's what?
confirmation of sin. If I
Confirmation of
acknowledge
what?
That someone's
she
attracted.
can get it, she can get it.
Well,
He
I
can
mean,
get it.
now that you're saying that, I mean, that's
You're
They
not
can
saying
get
she's
it.
confirmation of
just
sin.
beautiful. You saying she can get it.
That's a totally different. That's a totally different from me saying that she.
Okay. I just was throwing out a real scenario.
Now, depending on the kind of life you live, if I'm walking down the street with my baby, you like, babe, look at that ass. I'm like,
See?
So put it like this: my wife is the type of person that she kind of brings up stuff a little later on. She probably won't say it right then and there, but she'll be like we'll be in conversation about something else, and she'll be like, oh, so like just like old girl that we saw earlier in green, and I'm like, okay, so she know I saw. All right, so
See,
you know what I mean.
you like that.
I just jump into the
cool.
conversation with her, but I don't. I mean, I would never be like, hey, remember old girl that had the green on earlier? Like, that's not going to come up because of the fact that I know how to ignore that.
Your woman gets your dick too. Like, she looks at booty that you like. So I think that that's a natural thing. I think it rubs off. I think as a man or the man in the relationship, if I like, I don't know, let's just throw something random out there. If I like thick red bones with big breasts, that my gal gonna like it too. Like, you get what I mean? You feel what I'm saying?
hold on, that's a push because I just had an argument with a friend about this.
I don't know if I agree, but I hear you.
I have said that, like, for the men out here, I don't know about y'all, but like, for example, a guy I recently started talking to, he's big into the polygamy thing, which is not loud or whatever. And me and my friend was talking. I had to show him a picture of one of his girls, and I was like, he all trying to put us in conversation. He's like, yeah, she really like you. She is not cute. Okay, she is not.
So she got the truth. She got the truth. Can you even say that? That's hard because
she's a real sweet girl, but she is not attractive to me.
But your partner likes it, so it's like, as the woman, that's interesting.
We're just talking right now. Listen,
she ain't doing it for you. That sucks. That's not fun. Because you don't even want the booty. You don't even want the booty.
It's not fun for me because, like I said, the polygamy. I don't believe in the polygamy thing hardcore. But that's why it's a problem for me because, again, I don't like the idea of you trying to make your Barbies play nice together.
I would do that. I would do that, but that would hurt my feelings if you said you didn't want to play with us. If I wanted to try to play with both of you, if I wanted my vanilla and my chocolate together, and then you told me no, my feelings would be hurt. So I know it's really busted.
I don't know if I ever believed in polygamy, but I mean, like I said, when I was younger, I used to be in them streets. So, I mean, I've never, but until Vicky came, I never just had one girl.
I'm only basing my argument off of because I did a podcast episode about this. Did not post it because it just needs to be redone. About me saying, like, you know, when it comes to the poly community in general, polyamory, what that entails, it really, like, polygamy and polyandry kind of go against it. And then I did like hardcore research too about how damaging polygamy and polyandry can be. Polyandry, not too much information because it's not that common, but polygamy, for example, it was a lot of craziness. So,
which is more toxic? Polygamy. Which one is more toxic?
I think the polygamy, because what you have with polygamy is this: you have one man.
Wait a minute, you said polygamy?
Polygamy versus this is comparing, like, my podcast is like the episode was comparing polygamy, polyandry to polyamory. So polyamory is multiple loves. It doesn't matter about like polygamy, for example. Polygamy is I'm one man, y'all all belong to me. That's it.
Yeah.
Polyamory doesn't operate like that because at the end of the day, say, like, for example, the guy I'm talking to, I brought up a logical thought to him about, you know, his idea of what he wants. So I'm like, listen, that's great and dandy that you have that dream, but let's think about this. You want to date, you want to be in relations with 4 women. You want those women to only be with you, but you have a child. You're having another child soon. So how much individual time can you really give those women?
Hold up. I got 5 bitches, 2 kids, 1 mortgage. Do I have a car payment?
Yep. So think of all this in the modern day time. Gas is $1,000.
But I don't have child support, correct?
You do.
Oh no, I'm following.
That's not gonna work, bro.
I'm not even talking about monetary. I'm talking about time wise. How are you getting,
bro?
Like, because hanging out as a group of
Go ahead and take these calls. I'm good.
But to maintain all those relationships with those, you know, you still have to individually maintain those relationships. You're not gonna have time for that.
Because think about it. What if one of them find out what the other one got for Christmas?
Yeah,
and they didn't get theirs didn't cost as much, man. Like the way the human mind works today, like what's more expensive is what's valuable. So
Well,
like every woman isn't sensible. Like you can't go get this one a spa day and grab this one a Louis bag and call it a good.
Exactly.
sound
Man,
like
she
you can
better
hold them or
pay.
you can fold them. I'm a
Yeah,
fold
I
them
would
twice.
fold, bro, quick. I mean,
That's why I was like, I mean, and he's a nice guy, but I'm like, and
Facts.
there's even some more. There's even some more to this. Like, I was trying to like not argue with the guy, but like telling him for me, yeah, not gonna work. Cause he's like, well, I'm trying to be your only man. I was like, yeah, you know,
He trying to be
your
your only
only
man, but he got
man.
5 of these
But
hoes in your
yeah,
living
man,
room.
come on. And then my whole thing about it is like I don't understand how the group handles it for themselves. Like, individually when they go home, like how do you even value yourself anymore? You know what I'm saying? Because like you're now a new statistic. You're a statistic of his life.
I
yeah, and
am
that's, and
so
that's why it's like, and
insecure
that's
by
why I was like breaking
polyamory.
down to him, like, if you're gonna be poly, to me, polyamory makes more sense. But at the end of the day, if you have that open love style, then, for example, I'm gonna use an example in the situation. This guy has a girl he's preparing to marry. Okay, he's only dated this girl for about 2 years. Now there's another girl who he's dated for 6 years. Now she wants to have kids. How do you think in the long run that's going to make her feel that you're about to marry a girl that you've been dating for 2 years and she's been dating for 6 years and she wants a kid? This other girl, you about to get married to her and have a kid. And
She
he's
don't
like,
do
oh,
something
gifts out.
nasty enough.
You're
That's
giving
why
different
she got
gifts out, bro.
overlooked. She
yeah.
got
You
outpaced.
can't give different gifts out, yo.
So that's why I'm like, though at this current time she might respect that relationship. In the long run, that is gonna become an issue in my eyes. I think
A struggle.
Toxic is the word you're looking for, Siren.
It'd be a struggle.
Situation will go nuclear. She gonna go
Yeah.
upside his head within 3 months, 90 days. Doug, you think they're gonna make it to Christmas? Or
I think
ass kicking by the end
she'll
of
at
the
least try to
summer?
get through she'll try to get through the year to see what she can get out the deal, and if it doesn't work after a year,
Thank you.
she's gonna bail. That's
That's
what
what
I
I
think.
was thinking. That's it.
so.
Yeah, and I mean I'm not saying that they like to say that all women are what's the word just
Materialistic.
materialistic. I don't believe that at all. But what I do believe is at some point a woman wants to understand the worth that she believes in her head, and if you're not producing that worth for her, she will leave you.
You're so sensitive. I like how well
I
rounded.
know women, bro. I mean, I was
Yeah.
raised by women.
Yeah.
I was
Mm-mm.
raised by them. I
I
don't
say it's
understand
an
guys.
interesting, but I'm like, it gives me more fire. I'm like, I definitely want to redo that podcast topic because I had a bunch of good research, but
Yeah, I come. I be on your side. I
Give her your social media so y'all
I
can
give
link.
you talking points.
Yeah. Give y'all social media so y'all can link. And then I'm gonna wrap this one up, and y'all better come back to the next one.
oh yeah, I'm available. I'm not recording on my episodes, so I'm here.
I'm gonna try to, maybe we'll make Thursdays at 9 p.m. Central Standard Time. Good date and time. We'll try to go for it, make it a weekly thing. But you see where you can reach me at. I'm rolling at the bottom. I'm on every social media platform. I got plenty of content out there. Check out the OnlyFans. Check out some of the websites that we run and we get.
You need to let that go, bro. Let it go.
Only
Get rid of that.
It's a Christian OnlyFans, man. It's brilliant. But nobody wants to subscribe. No one wants to pay for Bible verses. No one wants to
Yeah, so get
have
rid
a
of it.
soul say.
It ain't meant for that.
They're very angry with me, and I don't
I would
understand
be
it.
too. You know what I'm saying? Like, oh, look at him. Let me go in there, click in there, and all he want to do is pray for
I've
you.
been reaching out to the gals, telling them, you know what, you ain't got to do all that nasty stuff you talking about. I was like, you can find a relationship, you can do that at home, and nobody needs to know about it. But like I said, check me out on all platforms. Until the next episode, y'all. Peace.
Bye.
Bye bye. Crazy. Oh wow.